ad that popped up. And I responded to it. And when I walked in the facility, it just fit. You know, there was immediate hands-on, the ability to start working with the animals right away, to get that sense of companionship that I hadn't been able to enjoy after being in the service for so long and traveling so much. Having a dog was kind of a difficult thing. And so that brought that into my life, which opened up, you know, kind of doors in the next chapter for where I am today. I will tell you a little bit about Lost Dog when we get into the presentation. I don't have animal experience as far as my profession. I admit that very openly. I think that what I bring to the table as the director of this organization is many years of leadership and management and organizing, and whether or not it was my path, I ended up kind of working with people again. So we have an amazing organization that is mostly managed by volunteers. We do have a very small staff that helps us at the Rescue Care Center, which is located there in Falls Church. They are the dedicated employees that show up every morning at 7 days a week, 365 days a year, to make sure that the dogs get fed, that the kennels get cleaned, things get disinfected, and the general operation of the facility is able to do what we need to do in order to take care of the animals that are in our custody. The volunteers get involved from a management aspect, and they provide this tremendous expansion to what we do. And we'll talk a little bit about that as we get into the presentation. So it's a great mix of opportunity to work with the animals. There's a lot of different things to do, and we'll chat about that as well. My personal journey in getting here has been very rewarding. It's busy days. You know, the animals don't have a schedule. So sometimes it's 2 a.m. This past morning, we had a pregnant mama that delivered 4 of her puppies, and I got the message at 2:15 in the morning. So I've been up since then because once I was awake, there was no going back to sleep. So it's just kind of how it works, but it's also quite exciting, and there's just a tremendous amount of reward in what we do. So we'll chat a little bit more about that. Joining me today is Johanna. Johanna has her own story and how she came to Lost Dog, so I'll let her share that with you, and then we'll get started on the presentation. So Johanna, over to you.
Yeah. So I'm a previous adopter. I've adopted from Lost Dog multiple times. Professionally, I'm a special education and ESOL teacher. So my only animal experience is I've had dogs all my life. So I've adopted several dogs from Lost Dog, but I always had the thought that I couldn't foster, because how can you ever give up the dog you take in? And this is what we hear from a lot of people. So I was very hesitant. And then in 2019, I did go to our building in Falls Church, and I went through the training and signed up as a dog walker. So just going in and taking the dogs that are staying there in kennels out for walks. And from there it evolved. I got more and more involved. And then started fostering. I took in one dog, then took a break for 2 months, took in another dog. Now I'm at the point where I have 3 or 4 fosters at a time, and I absolutely love it. I love the people you work with, all the volunteers. They're so dedicated to do what is best for the animals. You know, they spend so much of their time looking after the animals. It's just very rewarding. So I am always looking for fosters that are able to take in a dog from us and keep the dog until adoption. And we have a variety, and we'll talk about that more once we go through Dawn's presentation. So that's it, like just in short.
Johanna is very modest. She's a superhero in the organization, and she's an example of, when you come into the organization, because you get this opportunity to so immediately be hands-on and start working with the animals and really create that bond with so many of them, that sometimes we almost have to hold people back because we see them getting involved in so much, and then we worry about their balance as well. So Johanna has done a tremendous job with our foster program. And she probably can tell you off the top of her head how many foster dogs we have, but I'll chat with you also on just kind of how many pets we have in our custody and whatnot and so forth. You'll probably see a couple of mine before we get started. This is my Oliver in the corner. He has a really hard life. He's an alumni from Lost Dog. So while Johanna has the dogs, I have the cats. Oliver's a pretty little Siamese mix, and he's exactly what all Siamese are. He's spoiled and high maintenance, but he's great. He's mine. So, and then I have an orange tabby that's laying over here. Don't look at my room. My bed's not made, but she's over here. And she's a rescue from Georgia. So she came with me when I moved to Virginia. Cats became a companionship for me because I traveled so much and I wasn't home as much. And candidly, they don't have to be walked in the morning at night, which is Johanna can tell you about her routine. I rarely had a yard where I lived. And so cats just became that companionship that I sought. So the wonderful thing about Lost Dog and Cat Rescue Foundation is that we have both dogs and cats. And so regardless of what species you might gravitate to and how you find companionship, we have pretty much something for everyone when it comes to dogs or cats. So we'll talk a little bit more about that too in the presentation. Okay, well, I'm going to share my screen and bring you over to our website, because again, it's just really handy to sort of start to talk to you about who we are. Gary, if you'll just confirm that that's up for everybody and you see it.
Yep, I can see it.
Okay, great. So navigating to our homepage, first of all, is really easy. And our website URL is extremely easy. So all you have to do is put in the search Lost Dog Rescue, and you're going to find us on our website. We have two amazing graphic volunteers that do a lot of our website and graphic design. So again, what you see on our website is done by volunteers. So the volunteer contribution is not only the hands-on with the pets, it's pretty much anything professional that you can think of. We have volunteers that help us with our marketing, with our social media, with our graphic design. We have volunteers that help us with our accounts payable and our financial requirements. Just like any business, as a nonprofit organization, we have all of those organizational functions that have to take place in order to support the organization. What might get the most attention is what we see every day, and that's the pets' faces and the people working with the pets. But the reality is the whole organization has to function, and all of that gets done by volunteers. So whether you like to write stories and would like to write messages for social media, whether you like to write biographies, every pet on our website has a biography. So creative writing becomes a very necessary skill set for us. If you like to take pictures and do photography, most of our audience meets our pets initially through social media or through our website. So a soulful picture of a dog's eyes or a playful picture of a cat's face becomes the way that our potential adopters get drawn into a particular pet. And so we rely very heavily on this digital age that we now work in. COVID also became a game changer for us. We had to learn how to do a lot more remotely because of the fact that we didn't want to stop saving animals just because we all couldn't see each other. So we found ways to adapt, and we've kept many of those ways in place in order to ensure that pets who don't necessarily do well at an event, because that's how the majority of our pets get seen, is on the weekends, on Saturday and Sundays. We have adoption events where people physically come to a PetSmart location or to another brick and mortar facility, and they meet the pets that are available for adoption. not all pets do well in that environment. And so prior to COVID, we were kind of stuck in a single model. It was, hey, the pet has to go to this store in order to meet the people. And now we have, again, just maximized the use of digital age, and we have used tools to allow us to do a lot of remote adoption and remote processes and a little bit more individualized meet and greet with that population of pet that needs that. Very much so for several of our dogs, hugely for our cats. And so I'll talk to you a little bit about how adoption events work and how the adoption process works. But we really have learned a lot from COVID, and we've managed, I think, to keep the goodness of some of those processes in place in order to help us maximize pets getting adopted and into people's homes as soon as possible. So when it comes to Lost Dog and Cat Rescue Foundation, who are we? You can peruse our history and our mission. We were founded in 2001, so we have been saving lives for over 20 years. You will often hear us say, especially our founder, Pam McElwee, we're in the business of saving lives. It very much is that. We're a nonprofit organization, a 501c3, but what we do every day has an operational element to it. So we have to focus on how do we continue to have what we need resource-wise in order to save the animals that we want to save. Our mission and our vision is pretty straightforward. We would love to have a world free of homeless, neglected, or abused pets. And so every day that becomes, our goal. And it's where our volunteers and our employees and our leadership are focused in order to help make a difference in the world of animal welfare. Pam McElwee is our founder. Somebody mentioned the Lost Dog Cafe and the Stray Cat Cafe. So she's the franchise owner of the Lost Dog Cafe. They're an extremely important partner of ours. And she founded the rescue as well in 2001. She had a love for dogs. And when she started her business, people will tease that you didn't know whether you were calling the business to adopt a dog or say you had found a dog and wanted help with that dog, or you were calling to order a pizza. So she has the heart of gold and probably the biggest heart of any person I've ever met. And she's an entrepreneur. So back in the day, early 2000s, many of our shelters in Spotsylvania, Stafford, those areas were really struggling, and they were euthanizing dogs and cats at very high levels. And she decided that that was going to be her focus area. So she would just go to the shelters and start pulling as many pets as she could. She'd literally walk in and say, where is your row with the pets that you're, looking to put down? And she would go and pull those in order to, provide them a different path. She needed a facility to do that. So she herself purchased 63 acres of land in Summer Duck, Virginia. And that is what started and where we are known as the Lost Dog Ranch. And that's where the Lost Dog operation really started. All of our dogs were kept there in Summer Duck, Virginia, in a facility. It was a grand place. It's still there. We don't have any dogs there now. We do still have some farm animals that are there. So the ranch became not only a sanctuary for dogs and cats, but we happened to acquire some longhorn cattle and some donkeys and some pigs. And it just became a good place for many animals that needed sanctuary. The long and short of how things operated back in 2001 and for 16 years, the dogs were kept there at the ranch. They were cared for by 3 or 4 employees that came every day. They were obviously fed and they were given meds that they required, and they had large outdoor yards to separate the dogs up and let them run and play. And they would bring the dogs on the weekends into the city for adoption events. So Summer Duck, Virginia, if you're aware, is about an hour and a half outside of town. So it was a nice quiet place to have the dogs. But at the same time, it was a long drive. So logistics, every Saturday and Sunday, and they had events on Friday nights as well, became just a way of, that was just how the model worked. But it was a long ride for the pets back and forth on the weekends. And their only interaction was the staff. And then the weekend events that would be held, where the volunteers would have the first opportunity to meet those pets as they would arrive at the adoption events. And then after the adoption events, if they were not adopted, they would get back on the van and they would head back to the Lost Dog Ranch, where they would be cared for during the week until the following weekend came. Again, a tremendous model that for 16 years and thousands and thousands and thousands of dogs and cats got adopted. Values wise, we pride ourselves on having an open, friendly adoption process. We try very hard to be very transparent with our adopters. We are transparent not only about the pet that they are considering to adopt, but also the resources that we have with regards to the pet that we've rescued and the pet that we are looking to find placement into a home. One of the things at Lost Dog and Cat Rescue Foundation that we do make is a lifetime commitment to the animals we rescue. So we will accept a pet back into our care if for whatever reason the pet owner who's adopted is no longer able to care for that pet, as long as the pet is determined to be safe and in a responsible way, we could look to rehome that pet. So again, those are conversations we have to have with pet owners as we are looking to rehome their pets. But if all circumstances are positive and that pet has, for no fault of their own, kind of become in a situation where they need to have a new home, we will work with that owner to do that. We also offer a 2-week trial period. So if people are looking to adopt with us, they get 2 weeks to bring that pet into their home, decide if it's a good match for them, and determine, whether or not that pet is going to fit what it was and what it is that they're looking for with regards to companionship. And that's a hard subject for folks sometimes when we talk about adopting a pet. I know it's not like, going to the store and buying a pair of shoes and then deciding that you don't like it. And then, you decide you take them back. But we do feel strongly that when you adopt a pet, whether a cat or a dog, that it is a lifetime commitment. It's, that dog or cat can live up to 20 plus years. So it's recognizing the pet that you are bringing into your family is going to be a good fit. And it's giving you decision space to do that so that you're not in a situation where you've either have a pet in your home that isn't a good fit, and then down the road, it becomes very stressful and managed care becomes difficult. And that's not good for you or the pet. So we try and keep that 2-week time frame as a good open space for people to know that the pet that they brought into their home is going to be a good fit for them, and that they have a little bit of space to do that. So in 2017, there was a really bad hurricane season. And if you remember, we had about 5 states that were affected by the hurricane. And that is when the Rescue Care Center started. And it was initially started for just the ability to rent some kennel space and have some added dogs be able to come into the rescue. And so what started as a plan for maybe 30 days of some kennel space turned into 60 days and turned into 90 days. And next thing you know, all the volunteers that were coming to help at that facility kept saying, hey, are we going to stay? Are we going to stay? And what Pam realized as the founder is that what we were able to provide to the pets really was a game changer. And that was the human interaction that started to happen with the animals that was not possible underneath the previous model. So previous model, pets were at the ranch, they came in for adoption events, they went back to the ranch, they saw the same 3 or 4 people. We got a lot of pets adopted during that time frame. When we migrated to the Rescue Care Center, and started having volunteers come into the rescue care center, where volunteers were walking dogs, interacting with the dogs every day, likewise with cats. We started to see pets who had been longer stay pets, who had been going to event after event after event and not getting adopted. We started to see those pets get adopted. So why was that? People took their phone out of their pockets. They took pictures of the dogs with themselves. They took selfies. They posted them on their social media pages. We had a volunteer Facebook page that people could post pictures on our volunteer Facebook page. And that just exploded. And dogs that were not getting noticed at events all of a sudden started to get adopted. And Pam just knew that this was now the new path, right? It was an enrichment type opportunity, not only for the dogs, but for the people who had an opportunity now to come to this facility, come inside and be part of the mission, not just on the weekends when the dogs arrived at an adoption event, but every day of the week, 365 days a year. There was an opportunity for people to come and be part of the experience and to really serve the animals in a completely different way. So how do you get involved as a volunteer? It's pretty easy. We have our volunteer section here where you can look and see what it is that you're interested in doing. We do have a volunteer newsletter that anyone can sign up for. So it's a great way to get updates. We put the newsletter out 2 or 3 times a month, depending upon content. And again, it's volunteer managed, so it has to do with availability of the volunteers to pull the information together, but you can sign up for this. It'll give you updates on a weekly basis, things that are going on, and things that are happening and different ways to get involved. If you are interested in volunteering at the care center and are interested in volunteering with dogs, you can be a dog handler at the care center. You can sign up to walk dogs. Johanna mentioned that's how she started. That's how I started too. We make it pretty easy. You send an email and we get you added in. We have a volunteer application that you'll fill out. We bring you into the care center. Orientation takes about an hour. So it is a small investment of each person's time. We bring you in the care center and basically make sure that you can navigate in and around the care center safely. We also want to spend a little time with you to make sure that you are going to be okay walking the dogs. If you know where we're at there in Falls Church, we sit in between Coons Ford and the Eden Center, and there's nothing calm or quiet about that area. It's very crazy with traffic and whatnot. So we want to make sure that as people, leash up their dog and get ready to walk outside, that they're comfortable doing that, and that we're comfortable that the dogs are going to be able to get in and out of the building safely. We do have a walk path now that goes around our facility, so that's kind of nice for the shy or quiet dogs. And then we pretty much use the Eden Center and the sidewalks in and around that section for walking our dogs. So we are open from 8 to 2 every day for dog walking, and from 5 to 7. And that's 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So we have a lot of folks that will come first thing in the morning and get their morning walks in. We have people that will come at lunchtime and get a lunchtime walk in. And it doesn't matter whether you walk 2 dogs when you come or 20 dogs when you come. You can come and stay as long as you'd like, or you can come in and walk a couple of dogs, get your steps in, spend some time with the pets, and then go about your rest of your day. We make it pretty easy for you to be able to come in and out and do that. We do also offer dog handling at our adoption events. So every dog that goes to an adoption event is not in a crate. We are actually handling our dogs on leash so that people have an opportunity to interact with the dog, and the dog also has an opportunity to interact with the people that they're meeting. So it's pretty easy to handle a dog at an adoption event. There is an age requirement, so children have to be at least 14 years old or with a parent. If you're 18 or older, then obviously you can handle. Lots of different types of dogs. So if you're interested in handling dogs and you know, want a certain weight, or you are looking to handle a certain kind of dog, you can certainly let us know that. We have many of our handlers who have found a PetSmart location that they enjoy, and they just sort of keep coming week after week, which is great. You get to know the event staff, and the event staff gets to know you, and it turns into a really rewarding and enriching experience for our dog handlers. And the handler really is, you know, it's the pathway that dog has for adoption. If the handler isn't there, if we don't have enough handlers, we can't send as many dogs as we'd like to the events. And then that many dogs don't have a chance to get adopted on a particular weekend. So the dog handlers really do become critical for us with regards to how many pets we can get out every weekend for adoption. And again, pretty easy to sign up. This is our volunteer at Lost Dog Rescue email address. You can click on that, send an email, pretty much tell them anything it is you're interested in doing volunteer-wise. And the volunteers who manage this box will send it where it needs to go so that the person on the other end can get you started. The other way that we have to volunteer with dogs at the care center, which also just really became a game changer for us, is this program called Dog Venture. This is a short-term field trip program where if you are interested in taking a dog on a walk or a hike in the park, whether you'd like to bring a dog back and just chill out and watch some television, or you've got a nice backyard that's fenced in and they could run and play and get some playtime in your backyard, you have the opportunity to sign up for what's called Dog Venture. The Dog Venture program is pretty simple. Again, we offer a short orientation. There's a huge amount of information here you certainly can look through as you if you're interested. But in a nutshell, we bring you to the care center. We have a team of volunteers who manages the Dog Venture program. They're amazing. They will meet you at the care center. They'll again give you a short orientation so you can safely navigate in and out of the facility. We have an entire station set up in the care center for Dog Ventures. We will help you out with some equipment that you might need if you are looking to take a dog home for the afternoon, or you want to do an overnight. We'll help you out with anything that's been donated to us. So if we have beds or crates or blankets or whatever it is that you might need to get started, we'll be more than happy to share that with you. Dogs will be on a leash and have a harness, and we'll give you some instructions. There is a foster contract that the Dog Venture volunteers sign, just outlines the provisions of the programs. And of course, with anything, there's always that official part of liability and risk. So it does cover that as well. You can submit your request directly to the Dog Venture team. We ask that you submit it 24 to 48 hours in advance. So if it's Wednesday and you know on Friday that you'd like to go take a nice walk in the park and you'd like to have a dog on a leash to do it with, you can submit a Dog Venture request, let the Dog Venture team know what it is you're looking to do, and the Dog Venture team will match you with a dog that's at the care center that would be good to take out for that particular activity.
Dawn,
Now-
can somebody do a dog venture if they already have a dog at home?
Sure, yeah, absolutely. Now that just gets a few more questions the Dog Venture team is going to ask you. So when you fill out your request and you indicate that you have a dog at home, they're going to just talk to you a little bit about your dog and is your dog friendly, and also talk with you a little bit about proper introductions and the way that those introductions should take place. But we have many of our Dog Venture volunteers that do have resident pets, and we have talked to them about that in advance and given them approval to do that. It certainly tells us a lot also about the pets that we have for adoption, because it allows us to have a better understanding of their how they are in a home and how they are with a resident pet. Again, that's done with some careful communication with the Dog Venture team, but it is an option when approved. Most of the time, you're going to have your dog kind of on its own and out doing something on a Dog Venture, but there are options for if you have a pet at home. Many times dog venture will turn into foster, and I'm not going to cover foster. I'm going to let Johanna do that. But oftentimes we'll have a dog that, is a longer stay dog, and dog venture becomes a program that really helps them to keep their resiliency, and it helps them to sustain. The kennel is an artificial environment, and as nice as we make it, and as many volunteers that come in and hug them and spend time with them and take them for walks and give them treats, it's not a home, and it is stressful for them, and getting an opportunity to go out on a dog venture gives them a break from that, and it really does help them with their resiliency. It's scientifically proven that it lowers their cortisol, and that is something that just lets them stress wise be able to maintain living in a more artificial environment for a longer period of time. So just like us, we need a vacation and have to get away once in a while. The more that we can get the dogs out of the care center and get fresh air and get away from that stressful environment, the longer they can maintain and sustain in that environment, and wait until that right adopter comes along. Likewise, for our cat program, we offer volunteering with our cats. We have several different ways you can volunteer. We do have cats at the PetSmart facility there in Seven Corners. So we have cat condos there, and many of our cats go to that location for an opportunity to be seen and to be adopted. So we have volunteers that come in 3 times a day. It's quite an amazing operation. Again, it's a whole nother aspect behind the scenes I think most people don't realize happens. But we have volunteers that go into the PetSmart morning, afternoon, and evening. They spend time with the cats, they clean their kennels, they feed them, they get them out of the kennels so they can play. And that happens every day of the week, 7 days a week, unless PetSmart is closed, and then the pets come back to our care center with us. But that's an opportunity to volunteer. If you have a daughter, granddaughter, someone that's at least 14 years of age, you can volunteer collectively with them. So it's another way that our teens can get involved in some animal enrichment. And then also at our care center, we have a cat room where we can house about 25 cats, and we have volunteers that come in every day as well to care for the cats that are in our cat room. The majority of our cats are in foster homes, and we work hard to get them moved into foster homes as quickly as possible. But we do always have a flow of cats that are coming into the care center off initial intake, when we've initially taken pets in from a rescue partner. Gives us time to learn about them a little bit, figure out what their needs are, both medically and behaviorally, and what kind of home they will do best in. And so during that time that they're at the care center, we have volunteers that come in and work with them. Get to socialize with them, just get to spend time with them. You do have to be 18 years of age, regardless of any function at the care center, to volunteer. And, that's primarily because the volunteer experience is very self-guided at our care center. And so when you come into the facility, you're going to sign in. You will have had some basic time with people to learn the function that you're coming in to do, and then you're on your own. So from an insurance standpoint, this is where our broker has said, hey, 18 is going to be the age. And so we work with that. And so far it's we've done well. We do have a lot of youth that support us. We creatively work with them on different projects, and we'll oftentimes have a group of scouts or somebody in when they're working on their pet badge and spend time to do that. But it is a little bit more difficult at our facility, given the way that we are structured. Where are we located? We're right there on Wilson Boulevard. So again, kind of sandwiched in between Coons Ford and the Eden Center. I'll talk about adoption just real briefly, and then I'm going to switch over to foster and give Johanna the rest of the time to chat. But if you are interested in adopting, again, we make it as easy as possible. These happy faces are faces of many that we get to experience each weekend. It's a great thing to see people who are looking for companionship have an opportunity to meet their pet and to be part of helping to make that happen. The adoption events, we have 3 every Saturday and then 1 every other Sunday. And now that the weather's getting nice, we will have several events as well outside. You can click on this link right here. It'll take you to all of our events. It'll give you a calendar of which event, where it's at, the location. And if you are interested in a particular pet, let's say I would like to go to Seven Corners, might not be populated yet because it's Wednesday, but on Thursday afternoon or Friday, I can scroll down here and it's going to show me those pets that are attending that particular location at Seven Corners. So if there is a particular dog that you've seen on our social media or a particular dog you're looking for, you can take a look at which dogs are going to be where. All of our dogs and cats are available on the website, so pretty easy to get to available dogs. If you are interested in adopting a dog or a cat, you're going to see these great pictures pop up. Each one has a profile. Let's just pick Johanna's dog Dazzle. This is one of her beauties that she has in her home. When you click up, it's going to give you pictures of Dazzle. You're just going to see all kinds of great pictures in here. And then a little bit of information about them, bio about them, and who to contact if you're interested in that particular pet. So we try and make it as easy as possible for people to take a look at the dogs and cats and be interested in adopting.
Dawn, just so you know, we're about 12 minutes to 11, and we do have a number of questions piling up. So
Okay. All right. Well, what I will do is I'll turn it over to Johanna. She can chat a little bit about fostering, and we'll go from there. Does that work?
Yeah, and I'll just be real quick. So for fostering, there are 3 of us, 3 volunteers on the foster team. We would send you an application to fill out, which is also on the website, and it really helps us to match a dog to your home. It asks about, do you have a yard? Are you in an apartment? It looks at what size of dog you're looking for, what age, and what date you're available. Once we receive your application, we will send you some matches that we think would fit your home. So we'll send you a picture of a dog and some background information. And if you agree to take that dog into foster, we will meet you at our rescue care center to pick the dog up. We always have a number of dogs on the website too. Some of them are listed. Dogs keep coming in and out, so there may be a few that are not on the website. But this is the first step where you can have a look and see if one catches your eye. We look for fosters that have no other animals. We look for fosters that have other animals. We just rescued, was it 27, Dawn? 27 dogs from a mill rescue from a commercial breeder, and they really all benefited from going to a foster home with another dog. They had never lived in a home, so Resident Dog is really showing them how to be a dog and how to trust a person. So it varies all the time what we're looking for. We have some dogs that do well with cats. If you take a dog in, we have a foster group Facebook page where you can post pictures and updates on your dog. It's a great support too for any questions. Fosters help and support each other. The 3 of us on the foster group, we are always available by email for any questions, concerns. We can give you strategies if you have a behavior concern or if you have a training question. We're there to help you and guide you through every step of the way. So please consider signing up. We need you. I'm going to show you some of mine.
I was going to say, share your pack.
Can you put the screen back? Oh, here.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
This one is, can you see him?
Hold on. There you go.
It's like, ready. This is Freddie. He's a senior. He's up for adoption. His favorite spot is right here. He lays and snoozes by the window, gazes out the window, and then he snoozes. This little girl is Indy. She's also up for adoption. Lexi is mine. She's a Lost Dog alumni. And then Paxton is my foster. We call it foster win. He was my foster and he stayed. He became officially mine. And then Dazzle's in another room.
Perhaps we should start with some of the
We want to
comments.
do questions.
Yes. People really love the graphics and the art on the website. So congratulations to you for that. How do you interact with the Animal Welfare League of Arlington?
So most of the time, the animal welfare, well, first of all, we live in an area that we are very fortunate that our immediate shelters do not have a capacity concern. So they are able to manage, and very infrequently do they look to the local rescues to help with taking pets from their facility. So the majority of pets that we are bringing into Virginia are coming from rural areas. We have many partners that are in the Lee County, Emporia, Dickinson, Smith County, Wise County. We pull most of our Virginia dogs and cats from that location of Virginia. Southwest Virginia tends to be just that area that isn't as densely populated. They struggle more with regards to adoption. And so the majority of our pets come from there. Most of the time, if we're working with Arlington, it's partnered with some sort of national level rescue response where we will be going to Manassas to meet an aircraft. If we're partnered with Bissell Pet Foundation or with the Humane Society or some other large transport that's coming in, and we'll partner with them to take a portion of pets off that transport as well. So, fortunately, our shelters are not seeking as much rescue assistance in our area, and we really do go more rural to help those shelters.
It sounds very Virginia focused. How about DC and Maryland?
Maryland, we have an adoption event in Gaithersburg, so we take a lot of pets to Maryland. It's a market that, I hate to use the word market, but that's what we're doing. We're adopting pets. There's not as many rescue organizations in Maryland. We do get asked every once in a while to take pets, but not as often. I mean, we really get most of our requests from our partners in Southwest Virginia.
Very good. Do you work with breed specific rescues when that's appropriate?
We do. Most of the time, the breed specific rescues are not looking for other rescues to take their pets. So if anything, if we get a pet in and we find that we are struggling somewhat to provide whatever care or that's needed for that pet, we'll reach out to a breed specific rescue and look to transfer that pet to them, because that's what they do. They do Dobermans, right? So, but we work hard to bring in the dogs that we know with a volunteer base and with our experience that we are best equipped to get adopted as quickly as possible and into people's homes. And so when you look at the wheel of animal welfare, everybody has a niche, right? And you stick to your knitting, you figure out what it is you're good at. And at Lost Dog, we are good at volume. We're good at getting lots of dogs that are adoptable into homes quickly, which then gives the shelters the capacity they need to have pets stay a little longer with them that might need a little bit more time. So if we deviate from that too much, then we kind of break the wheel, right? So yeah, that's sort of how we approach it. But breed specific, we don't discriminate by breed. We'll take in a dog and pull a dog by any breed. But we certainly want to make sure we do right by that breed.
Right. And it does sound like you had a big change in 2017, and you realized that you could find your niche and really serve the foster community with more volunteer activity and all the social media that you're doing. And I think that's all a great evolution of the organization's logistics and operation. I do want to get through some of these other ones. So I think you covered what counties in Virginia need the most help, and I think it's Southwest rural areas. And we want to give a shout out to Pam McAuley.
McElwee.
It sounds like she has not only had the heart of gold, but maybe the pockets of gold as well for the organization. And there is a question about how well funded the organization is, and is she still a major financial supporter?
She certainly is. I mean, she certainly is our #1 fan still. I think that our move to Falls Church and the partnerships that we've created with local businesses and with supporters in Falls Church has expanded our donation pool and how it is that we are resourced. She still, of course, contributes, and the Lost Dog Cafe franchise provides us with some reoccurring stability. But to operate the care center, that was a whole different thing, right? Like the garbage bill has to get paid every day, and the water has to get paid, and the electrical bill has to get paid. And we buy toilet paper at higher levels than we ever did before because all the volunteers are coming in every day. I mean, things that are operating costs that you wouldn't have had out at the ranch have now become costs. So we definitely are focused on working with the community, figuring out ways to partner with businesses, provide them that opportunity in our facility. We have Capital One Bank coming on Friday. They're going to be doing a volunteer in-house experience with us at the care center. So that opens up awareness of what we're doing in our mission. It provides them an opportunity to do something team-oriented and animal-oriented with their company. And it then potentially brings in some donation type element for us as well. So definitely Pam, very involved. I am proud to say that she does not have to dig into her pockets as much as she used to in the years past. And we consider that to be very much a compliment to what we're all doing in the organization and how the community has really embraced us and is supporting us.
Well, similarly, Arlington Neighborhood Village has built a basis of being good ideas from a number of founders and into a sustainable organization going forward with a lot of different sources of funds, and it's really very difficult to do that. So you're in a moving train, but doing a lot of things at once. And I want to, as we wrap up here, just ask a couple of other quick things. We had a comment that one of our members adopted her best dog ever from Lost Dog in 2003, and she says, "Don't tell current dog that I said this." Do you help people that adopt find trainers and other resources that they might need to make the adoption a successful one?
Yeah, so that's a tough one. Rescue is our business, and that's what we do is rescue. We focus on rescue. We certainly will work with the dog when they come into our care and do everything we can to allow that dog its adoption path. When it comes to the adopter's choice and how they then pursue training, that is an area that is not our niche. It's not what we do. So again, stick to your knitting. What do we offer? We have a Lost Dog alumni page that is, by adopting a pet from us, you get membership into that closed group. There are thousands of well-experienced adopters that people can go out and ask questions and seek guidance on particular training resources. On our webpage, we have a resources page where we will list information there that we'll provide. And we just, we have a wealth of people who will offer options, but again, it's not what we do. So it's not where we go, I suppose. How
about veterinarians? Do you have veterinarians on staff to evaluate or probably on a contract basis to take care of any special issues that come up? But this is also, again, to your point, not something that you're going to be providing connections for your adopted out animals with any support from veterinarians.
Right. And Anita, I could talk all day long on vet. We could do a whole nother section on that, but we don't have a vet on staff. Unlike Animal Welfare League of Arlington has its own vet on staff. We're not funded through any kind of county program. We don't receive taxpayers' money. Everything we do is by donation. Our vet care is all by contract. We work very hard to get rescue rates at certain vets. We drive an hour and a half to Percival, and that is because that is the location where we can actually afford to get vet care. We have another vet in Sterling who provides us vet care for particular things. And then we go to Manassas. There's a vet there at Anna Sarah, which is a nonprofit veterinarian who we partner with as much as we can. But vet care is the same. We have the same challenges that anybody else does. Vet care in our area is very expensive, and we have to figure out how to do that and balance it with saving lives and providing life-saving care, and also managing the costs associated.
Here's two quick questions, and then I think we'll wrap. Gary, it is after 11, so I know people start leaving at this point, and maybe we will stop the recording before that. We want to say thank you, Johanna, Dawn, for coming from Lost Dog and Cat Rescue today and sharing with Arlington Neighborhood Village your great work. So on with the questions.
Sure.
So the problem, it's for elder dogs in the home, like many of our members do have older pets, and this is cats, dogs, birds, turtles, whatever you have at home, and they need more care as well as our members. And the members that we have in Arlington Neighborhood Village want to get veterinary care. San Francisco, there's a shelter that subsidizes care for elder dogs. Do you do anything like that? And I suppose that's not possible given the focus that you have and the fundraising and resources you have. But how about, do you know of any other places in Northern Virginia that would be a source for subsidizing or helping our members with caring for their animals, the cost of caring?
Yeah, if you're talking about cost, again, I will raise my hands to Anna Sarah, and if you could make the drive to Manassas, they're a nonprofit veterinarian. They're a 501c3 themselves. They are in the business of providing care for pets, and they do not discriminate based upon your economic or your income. So it doesn't matter, you know, but if you are looking for a low cost or discount type service, they're fine doctors and fine vets and very professional, and they're a wonderful resource. I am not as familiar. Johanna might know with some of the things that she does, but I am not aware that any of our shelters provide a program like that. And it's a challenge because having a senior pet is a big responsibility. There are some discount low cost things, but yeah, I feel the pain when it comes to when we take in a senior dog into our rescue as to how it is when you have a senior dog in your home. So Johanna, you have anything that you could offer or to add?
I mean, I agree with Manassas. I think there's some other low-cost vets. There's one in Maryland, and I cannot think of the name now. Again, our alumni foster page, they are a great resource. We get questions like that all the time about training, about a specific surgery a dog needs, and you get so much response if you post a question there. I found that helpful for myself too.
And Gary, I don't know if we've did I miss any questions? Because we've got one more that I see, which is, do you take donations of sheets, bedding, towels, pillows?
Yes, we do take in-kind donations. Out on our handy webpage, we actually have a whole section that's on fundraising, and there's an in-kind list there as well. I will be honest and tell you, storage becomes a factor for us. So there are things that we're always needing, and Johanna will tell you she's always needing dog beds. We always need dog food. We always need puppy food. We always need towels. Sheets we don't use as much. Fitted sheets we'll sometimes put over the pools and use those for birthing moms, but we don't have a means for sheets. We can't use big blankets. We can't use pillows, but things that you either put in a dog's mouth or you know, use for a bed or whatever, we are happy to take. Crates, And that list, we just try and keep it updated with what we're accepting and not accepting so that people sort of have an idea of what storage space we have available and what we'll take in. We'll also take in donated pet meds. We're very careful about that, but if you have had a pet that's passed, or if you've had a pet who no longer requires the meds they're on, if you want to donate them to us, you can. We will make good use of them if there's something that we can use, and if not, we'll dispose of them properly.
Gary, anything else?
Well, there was a question about rescues during natural disasters and whether pets who've been in situations like that have special needs.
When it comes to natural disasters, we're always on the response end of that. So I think that often there are pets that have special needs that come to us. When you respond to a natural disaster, you have a little less control, if you will, over the pets that are coming to you. So we have to prepare ourselves for, let's just say, bigger care needs for those pets. But I also think that the animal welfare community as a whole is doing a tremendous better. We're doing better at responding when natural disasters are going to happen, especially hurricanes. And a lot of stuff is being done now as pre-evacuation so that you have more time to kind of plan and be ready for that. At Lost Dog, we certainly pride ourselves. We have always been at the forefront of any response to natural disaster. You know, we took in hurricanes dogs this past season as well. And for being an all volunteer donation-based organization, I do often look around at the other animal welfare organizations in the community, and I'm always really proud at the numbers that we're bringing in, and that we do it with the volunteer base that we have. So we do our part. I don't know if that answers your question, Gary, or the actual question, but.
Very
And
good.
for needs, when we take in dogs before they go on a dog venture or adoption or foster, we do an assessment. It's a behavioral assessment, you know, to determine what, if any, specific needs they have. Very
good. Well, with that, we're going to say thank you again, Johanna, and we're very, very lucky that Dawn found your encore career in the right place at the right time, because you really bring a lot to the organization, and you've been quick enough to take advantage of some of the good ideas that are coming along in the changing circumstances for all of us. So Lost Dog and Cat Lost Dog and Cat Rescue Foundation. And next time we're between Coons and the Eden Center, we're going to stop in and see you.
It'd be great. We'd love to see you. And thanks very much for the opportunity. Really
Thank
appreciate
you.
a chance to share, you know, what we do. And we'd love to have, you know, everyone all come join us.
Very good. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.